Welcome to Skypodcast. Welcome back, guys, to the podcast.
Dapat yung intro natin, love, should have like a Sevi and a Scotty, like season 4.
Yeah, like our first episode.
Yeah, kasi parang na-miss ko yun.
Okay, let's
Mag-record tayo.
Let's try our best. I make no promises. I can't speak for the children. But we'll try our best.
Gawin natin. We'll be following them around.
Please say season 4. Anyway.
Yes. So,
we have a very, I don't know how to say, special topic today.
Maganda tong topic na to because a friend sent us the screenshot, which we'll show you later. Pero Chris and I have always been talking about this, whether in the podcast or
last night when we had a date.
And like, yeah, I mean, ang lalim na pinag-usapan namin and how it relates to our kids in the future also. So the topic is basically
why are we depressed?
Also depressed. And this the trigger for this was our friend who was searching something on TikTok, hindi namin alam, pero why is Gen Z? And then, di ba may autofill yun or may search suggestion. So can you read through that?
So he typed, why is Gen Z? And automatically
The first
TikTok
one is-
suggested, why is Gen Z so messed up? Why is Gen Z depressed? Why is Gen Z mentally ill? Why is Gen Z aging differently? Why is Gen Z so stressed? So sensitive? Called Gen Z so insecure? Poor?
Lahat, no?
Yeah.
There's not even like, why is Gen Z like a positive one?
Yeah.
But,
So-
I mean, this isn't just Gen Z.
And this isn't just TikTok. We Googled it. But I feel like it's not just Gen Z because, again, like we talked about it last night and we're not Gen Z, right? It's a collective human nature thing. Like, are a lot of people feeling more sad, depressed, anxious
Yes.
these days? Or is it just like, more people opening up and talking about it because of social media? What do you think?
I think a lot of it is partly Gen Z. Partly Gen Z because they were born into the system that we are in right now.
Okay.
We can't point a finger. Like, I was talking to this, with a friend over the weekend. And sabi ko, like, kumusta kayo with the working environment of Gen Z? Sabi niya, like, it's always, the generation before will always talk about the generation prior and then et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
I remember when we were starting to join the working force, they also hated us.
Yes, and how to deal with millennials. And,
So are you saying that your friend has had a hard time dealing with Gen Z?
no, sabi niya, it's just about understanding the needs of Gen Z. Like,
Kasi iba-iba
that is the
talaga.
world they lived in. Like, we were talking about tayo, nag-adapt tayo sa internet. Kasi we were born parang midway to our life. Nandun yung internet. Sila, andun talaga in the middle of social media. Dun sila parang nag-mature, nag-grow up with.
So are you saying that social media is correlated to like all of this depression, mental health issues?
A lot of the things that is correlated, I feel. This is not educated. This is an educated guess.
This is not educated, but it's an educated guess.
So this is just a guess. But I think meron siyang bahid of truth. And it's mostly because of social media and like the instant gratification that we live in right now. There's a lot of comparisons and di ba palagi na sinasabi, comparison is the thief of joy. Pero dati, there's really no one else to compare to than the immediate people na nakikita natin.
No, actually, I read this article, and I think it was from the LA Times, and then it said that back in the day, when there was no social media, there was TV, and people always compare themselves to like the TV personalities or like models.
Mga
Artistas. And then you kind of understand like, okay, they're like that because there's probably a team there or, that's their job
They're
to
famous.
look good.
Oh.
Like, there's a justification in your head, right? But now with social media, we automatically compare ourselves to our peers or the people around us, our classmates, our workmates.
Yes.
And then when they post something that kind of is a highlight for them, like they're successful here, they earned more money or they went to this vacation and you did not, then it's like, wait a minute. They're not artista. We're on the same level. What's wrong with me? Why am I not there?
Mas relatable kasi
Yeah.
yung comparison. Kasi I was just about to say na kung si Tom Cruise yun nasa harap and then it was this is how Tom Cruise lives, like mansion tour, whatever. And like,
You kind of get it. Like, because he's Tom Cruise.
like we grew up with MTV Cribs. Ganyan pala yung mga buhay ng celebrities. And like parang, okay, since that's him. Pero hindi ko makukompare yung sarili ko because he's not relatable to me. That's just the life of a celebrity, a superstar.
Yeah.
But now, we get to see people that are within our reach.
Yeah.
Within, like, parang,
The same as us.
classmate ko parang sobrang sikat sa TikTok. Or, like, parang, yes, I think we're on the same page with this. Like, parang, it's more, why are you not enough? Because this guy is doing it. He's the same age as you.
It kind of messes your brain up. I mean, it happens to the best of us. It happens to you. It happens to me also.
Yes.
Now, even if there are things that I'm proud of and I feel like, this is where I'm excelling at in my life.
Yeah.
When I see something that my other friends are doing that I don't even want to do, diba? Remember this? Let me like...
Tawa ako kasi you were just
I was
telling
just
me the
saying, like,
story.
for example, I don't like attending big events and balls because ever since I became a mom, from extrovert, I became introvert. I'm so happy with my life and like I have creature habits, like comfort habits. So parang to attend this big event to me is really stepping out of my comfort zone and I don't like it and I'm not comfortable. So I turned down all of these big fashion ball invites and then I was happy about it. And then when I see on social media, like all of my friends went and these are their posts and these are their outfits and I'm like, oh, maybe I should have gone. But I don't even want to go. Like, why do I feel bad for not going when I didn't want to go in the beginning?
Yes.
Yeah.
And napansin ko rin sa'yo, ako wala na talaga ako sa social media. Like everybody's on mute. Sorry, friends. Pero parang, napansin ko sa'yo is, you see this someone and, nag-attend siya sa ball. Oh, nakuha niya tong project na to. And she went to this place. And, this other person, parang, she's excelling at fashion. Oh, this other person is excelling at momhood. And you are comparing to each and every one of those people. And you're like, parang,
It's
mahirap
like
na nga to do it in one category.
It's like you're attacking yourself for no reason.
Oh.
Or like you're putting this unrealistic standard or goal for yourself.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's also something that I read na parang, in today's day and age, because everything's so fast, coming at us so fast. We have our smartphones that are so smart. Remember before, I remember going to my parents' office and they had this really big computer. It was so huge. The battery was huge. Parang one whole room computer lang siya. And there's only one game and it's like Snake. Do you remember? That Snake game that you kind of get the...
Wala kaming one whole room na computer lang.
I mean, not really one whole room, like a small... Basta malaki siya. That computer lang siya. Pero yung screen sobrang liit. And then black and white lang siya. Or like green and black. I don't know. Something like that.
Okay, hindi ko na-experience.
And there's just one game. And that's what I would play all the time while waiting for my parents to finish working. That's a huge computer and that's all I could do.
Yeah.
But now, at the palm of our hands is everything. A calculator, a voice recorder, a camera, diba? Email. Like, everything's here. So it kind of forces you to go into this mania. Now, you have to be all things at once or do all things at once.
Because it's all stimulation.
Exactly.
Parang whenever we're not stimulated, para tayong na-addict sa yung stimulation na yun. Like,
Exactly.
There's this like kate na, I just need to reach for my phone.
Like every second of downtime, when we talked about this before in a previous podcast, na kunyari you're having a date with a friend or like catching up with your friend, the moment that the table becomes quiet, your instinct is just to get your phone and like check social media.
And napansin ko recently, I called you out on this. You're scrolling through TikTok, so si Chris, very TikToker, as mentioned in
Can
a
you
lot
stop?
of previous...
Really, honestly, I'm not. It's just compared to you, I am.
No, you do this, like scroll and then, this girl, no?
No. That wasn't TikTok. That was Instagram.
Okay, but it's like, whatever it is. So, scroll. This girl, nag-haul siya. Sobrang dami niya binili. And then, like, parang, at this age, parang ako, wala talaga akong mga naho-haul or I don't, hindi pa ako...
Basically, what Slater's trying to say is every single time I scroll through my Instagram feed,
Meron siyang
I have
feedback.
a comment about everything that I'm seeing.
Kinikwento niya sa akin.
Yeah, even if it's not
everything.
kind of like a judgment thing, but Slater noticed that it's kind of like me comparing myself to that person each scroll.
Or like...
So parang in a matter of like 5 seconds...
Ang dami mo ng comments. Like, the next scroll, sabi niya,
ay, ang ganda niya. Ay, ang payat niya.
No,
ay, ang dami
even
ng
like,
stuff.
Like, grabe sila mag-effort. Like, with, I think it was the opulence ball. Like, parang...
Yeah, I know. I was saying that, grabe yung opulence ball. Everybody dressed up for it, which is normal. But then now, like, when I scroll through social media, everybody has a behind the scenes, like, this is my outfit kind of reel.
Tapos sabi niya, nakakapagod, ang dami ng mga kailangan gawin.
Yeah.
And then, next na naman. And then, oh, this mommy, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
So basically, like, it's just overstimulating, right?
Yes.
And all of these side comments might seem harmless, but I'm also kind of affected by it little by little. It's like little by little, I'm poking myself.
Yeah, hindi
You
mo
know what I mean?
napapansin. Hindi mo
You don't
napapansin
notice.
talaga. Like, it's like eating unhealthy. You grab a chip and then okay ka lang. Then eventually you start, your body starts to feel like tired and everything, but it's so gradual that you don't feel it.
Yeah.
Until like someone calls you out.
Yeah.
It's like when I was in Manila and yung mga schedules namin is all over the place. Hindi kami natutulog. Shoot in the morning, like early in the morning. And then you're operating on that sleepless, akala mo, that's your normal. And like, hey, I'm okay naman pala. Not sleeping. I can function. Nasasanay na ako. And then when you get to having good sleep hygiene, makikita mo yung big comparison now from before. And like, ang laki ng difference. But over time kasi, it's like, ano yung saying na, if yung frog, ilagay mo sa boiling hot water, tatalon siya. Pero if you slowly raise the water ever so slightly until it becomes boiling, hindi mapapansin ng frog. I don't know if it's true, but that's like a saying, di ba?
I don't know.
So I think it's that in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that. I was watching this Netflix show and it was about anxiety and like Xanax pills and how it's becoming so normal, I guess, where they are. And one of the things that they said is in the past, when there was no news parang people were just married, living their own lives, dealing with their own problems that they see immediately in front of them. But then when the printing press was invented and then we had newspapers and then there was the radio and then you could read about news every single day from things happening around the world, diba?
Yes.
So parang at that moment, the invention of the printing press, stress levels went up so much and there was so much anxiety and depression from that alone because at that time, they were overly stimulated na. Kasi parang ang dami na nilang nalaman na parang before yung problema ko lang, hindi ko ma-heat yung bread ko sa oven, di ba? Or like yung wife ko ganito ganyan. Yun lang. Tapos, paano na ngayon? Like now with social media, there's even so much more.
And there's all these ideals that are being thrown about.
Yeah, I mean, exactly what you said earlier, right? It's the overstimulation. It's I guess the acceptance that there should be no downtime. And that every single moment of downtime should be spent doing something productive or doing something online with their phones. And I feel like the algorithm also has something to do with that. Like, you know.
A crazy algorithm.
Yeah.
I think pinakamalala si TikTok sa algorithm. I'm just gonna say it outright. Mababan na ako nito. May shadow ban. Yeah, but it's true though. Like, I can only imagine if you were to take a person from 1920s and put them right directly, trying time travel to this present moment. Ano kaya yung magiging impression niya? Parang,
what is this Jetsons-like world?
It would be like you're drowning in things.
You know, over the weekend, Slater and I went to Bantayan Beach, which is it a province? Is it it's an island. It's an island about 5-6 hours, five hours away from the city proper of Cebu. And there, Scotty met some new friends and they spent their day looking for crabs or fishing and all of these nature things that Slater also did when he was growing up back in the province.
Nasa probinsya kami dati.
And it was just so nice to see so many kids, like teenagers to grade schoolers, all hanging out together without gadgets. Because I feel like here in the city, when we look at, I don't know, when we look around, people are always just on their gadgets, whether it be laptops or cell phones or plugged in speakers. Like there's always something going on. And then we also noticed that with Scotty, right? Like he doesn't really watch TV, but he listens to a lot of podcasts for kids.
Yung mga stories.
Story time. And Slater and I were just calling ourselves out, like, oh my gosh, this kid is also so plugged. Even though it's not screen time, he's plugged all the time.
Yeah.
Like, there's no downtime. So now, we're consciously telling him to rest your brain. It needs a break. You know what I mean?
Ang problema lang kasi natin is because we're so busy and the easiest way to make him quiet or stimulate him is all this. TV, Spotify podcast. It's an effort kasi to make him play physically.
Because then it would mean that we can't work.
Yes.
Because we would have to play with him.
So
parang something
parang
like
it's
that.
it's a catch-22 kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it was easier back in the day because there was no expectation of us to be constantly plugged in all the time. But
Yes.
ngayon na tayo working na rin, parang yung deadlines natin piling up. Parang we're doing more work than ever before.
Last night you were sharing with me some of the struggles that you are dealing with right now. Do you want to care to or no na?
Di ko na alam.
Basically, si Chris is
Basically,
feeling,
sinasabi ko, hindi lang Gen Z. Lahat tayo, may pinagdaanan.
she's feeling a little bit overwhelmed with a lot of the things that are happening.
How do I begin? So, I know that I'm feeling a little bit of anxiety, although not diagnosed, and I don't want to use that term lightly. But I am feeling it in a lot more ways now. Especially, the scariest part is when I feel it physically.
How do you feel it physically?
Shortness of breath, I can't sleep, palpitations, parang
You told me
panic
about this,
attack
like,
feelings,
recently.
panic attack feelings, kind of, because I also get panic attacks. But the anxiety I feel is triggered by the pressure to provide for my family, to be on top of my game all the time, to be the best mom all the time, to be a good wife all the time. Like, it's just so many things. It's like, I don't know how to explain it because I know that I am in a very privileged position to be able to work from home and like have this kind of lifestyle. But
Ang
I
hirap
think
din magreklamo, no? Kung parang, okay, swerte mo na eh. Like,
I know, I am,
and then
I
parang ang hirap magreklamo pag ganyan.
I think it's
Which
because
adds
like
up to that.
with my kind of work, there's really a very thin line between work and personal life. And with that, there are so many things in my head all the time. Like, I can't unplug. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm filming a vlog with my children, at the back of my head, do I show my kids in this vlog or do I stop? Do I pull them out or not? Is this good for them or not? Am I a bad mom or not? Diba? Or like, do I enjoy this moment with my children or do I record it? Is it for the memories? Is it for the vlog? Do I share it to people or do I keep it to myself? Like, all of these things. And then I was telling Slater, like, I'm always the last priority and sometimes there's nothing left for me talaga because I'm always prioritizing work, the kids, the household. There's so many things. Parang, I don't know. I don't want to get into it because it's kind of like a downward spiral and I don't want to get the feels all over again. But it's a lot. So my point is, it's not just Gen Z. We all kind of are dealing with it. And I feel like a lot of it has to do with the expectations and the pressures that society is giving us today.
Yeah, I think also, and I do this to you also sometimes, na parang whenever you are open to sharing these struggles that you're having, the problem is people just dismiss it na, ang swerte mo na nga. You're already in a position wherein a lot of people will be happy where you are. And I
You
tell
have
you
no
this
right to
also.
complain. You have no right.
Like,
And that's also a dialogue that goes in my head, which is why I feel guilty whenever I have these feelings, which again adds to my anxiety. Now, why am I feeling this way? You're so ungrateful naman. And then it's a down, like you can't ever open up about it. You know what I mean?
Yes. Do you think that I feel like I would have a hard time if I was truly going through something. It would take me so long to open up about it.
For
like,
sure, because of your personality.
Kadalasan, I just keep it to myself. I've also, like, it's maybe the old person in me na, like, I'll just go through it. Like, fight lang. Ganyan lang yung iniisip ko. Palagi.
Maybe the reason why the Gen Z search term is like that is because they're more open and vocal about
Posible,
it,
yes,
talking about it more.
Yes.
I think
they're more comfortable to talk about it.
Yeah. I think before when we were growing up, it was such a taboo topic. Like, growing up, nobody talked about mental health. Like, yung isip ko about mental health is, if may problem ka mentally, mental institution. Like, ganun lang ka-simple. Straight jacket, di ba?
Oo. And I mean, mga comments pa from the older people like, depressed. Parang, wala. Diretso, trabaho lang yan.
Yeah.
Or, like, parang,
like, get
huwag
off
ka
your high
maarte
horse.
dyan.
Yeah,
Oo.
exactly.
Ganyan dati.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
so-
now I feel like people are more open about it. There's more research about it. There are more facilities to help, di ba?
So maybe it's two ways. Everything that is going on with the world right now, plus, and the positive side is everybody's just more aware of it. So we have labels for it. Because if there's no word for it, ang hirap din i-explain what you're going through. Di ba?
Let's think about the bright side of things. Because it's getting a little bit depressing.
So,
Forgive my...
ikaw, love, I think from a first-hand experience.
I'm not depressed, guys.
It's
a
not
normal
about depressed.
person.
You're just feeling low, I would say.
Yeah.
How do
I'm
you
just going through a lot.
how do you like cope?
Well, last night I told you about it, and opening up, I feel, is always the first step. And I told Slater, I just need you to hear me out and like
Don't
not
solve my problems.
I don't need you to solve my problems. I just need you to understand where I'm at, so that when I act a certain way, or when I suddenly can't take it anymore, or when I say take the children because I need a break, you know where I'm coming from. That's it.
I mean, nagkainitan kami ng konti. Kasi, like, a few weeks ago, or this was last week, na parang they were opening up to me, and I was like, no, just do this, do this, do this, do this. So, looking back, it's like, because it's like, ganyan lang pala problema mo, gawin mo to. Like,
It's
parang it's so
dismissive.
dismissive. Yes.
Yeah. And it doesn't validate.
That's why medyo...
I feel like it doesn't validate what the other person is feeling, because to you it might be so simple, but to this other person it could be like a 10 out of 10.
Yes.
Diba?
And sometimes it's not about the solution. I need to remind myself sometimes like that, because I think it's my guy brain. It's not about the solution, because sometimes, yes, the solution seems so easy, but it's so hard to do. And sometimes it's just knowing that someone is right beside you, and someone will go through this journey with you.
Yeah.
Parang this was a Simon Sinek video. It was on YouTube or TikTok. Na parang clip lang siya. Pero sabi niya, the thing is, when our friends are in the mud, we want to lift them out of the mud. But sometimes
That's not what they need.
Hindi nila kailangan na i-lift up. Ang kailangan nila is tao na umupo kasabay nila sa putek.
Someone who will sit with them in the mud.
Yeah.
You know, love, what really helped me is, I guess, seeing also online, like some of the people that are going through the same things as me makes me feel like I'm not alone. And there are also like a lot of things that I read online that help me. Like, okay, for example, when I have these panic attack feelings, alam ko na yung triggers ko. So I can self-regulate. Like, okay, I won't go on this app today because I know it's going to make me feel bad. Or like, I'll do this today. Diba I told you, like, I just need to self-regulate. Like, diba I was telling you, I know this is my personality. So this is my way of coping with the situation so that I don't flip out.
Yeah.
I have those kind of things.
Sa akin, I think it's a more simplistic because I have a simple brain. Whenever I feel anxiety, I feel it in my back, and I feel like parang ano siya. And sometimes, like, I feel it for hours, and then hindi ko napansin na I'm feeling that way na pala. And whenever I recognize that, oh, I'm feeling that way, bakit kaya? And then I'll search through my system kung ano yun, what triggered this? Because this started from somewhere. I just didn't wake up na ganito. Like, hindi naman siya clinically depressed or anything. It's just, there's something that happened that is making me anxious. Ano ba yung trigger? And then, when I find it, and I usually do, it makes me, okay, that particular thing. Mas kumakalma ako. Like, for example, I get a text na, sir, may nagreklamo sa produkto natin, pero parang, like, this actually happened. Sir, may nagreklamo, hindi daw nila gagamitin yung produkto natin kasi may problema daw. And parang, because this. And alam kong hindi kami yun.
You're talking about a different company.
It's a company that's similar to our name.
Yeah.
Because that problem is their problem. So parang na-anxious ako, and then I go through my day, and then I forget that is the trigger.
You're anxious because you want to solve the problem, but you can't solve it immediately. So now it's just eating up your body and your brain.
It's eating up the brain power and everything. But a lot of times, I don't recognize it as that trigger point. So I go through my day, and then I feel like uneasy, and I don't feel like parang may something wrong. And then I look back, oh, that's the one. Then what I usually do is I recognize it and I put it in my to-do list. Okay, set meeting for this to discuss this. And then once I put it there, I can now let it go na parang hindi ko na pag-isipan yun because nahanapan ko na ng solution. So, for me, I don't know if this helps anyone, but that's my simplistic way of going about it. Or even just recognizing that one particular thing is eating you up. Sometimes it's a little bit uncontrollable. Wala tayong ma-execute. Like, for example, if you had a fight with your loved one, but if it goes unrecognized that is what is triggering you right now, you're always fighting it. Instead of like accepting, okay, I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling sad, because of that one particular thing. And I'll allow myself to feel sad because that happened.
Yeah.
And with that, you get the sadness without the anxiety and the conflicting emotions of trying to fight it.
I guess it's
Does
also
it make
easier
sense?
said than done. I know, I totally understand where you're coming from, but you are, I feel, very strong mentally, and you're able to detach right away. Like, for example, me, if I have an emotion, it takes me a while to detach from that emotion, even though I know what caused it. So, kung sa mga tao na ganon, what I do now is I leave everything behind, like all of the things that people can contact me, like, and stimulate me with. So laptop, cellphone, lahat iwan, and I do something that grounds me, like watering the plants, like just something that keeps you grounded and takes your mind off everything. Na parang at the end of the day, na realize ko na I still have this lovely garden. I can tend to my plants and I'm fine. You know what I mean? Like, even though my brain in the office is dying and bursting and I want to cry, if I just shut that all off for a second and go outside and like look at the sun for a second, I know that everything's okay. Like, at the end of the day, I'm alive, I'm healthy, the sun is here, the grass is here. I'm okay.
Siguro
it's
it's
grounding for me.
About what works for you, and it's all a process of discovery of what really does resonate with you. But I think it's all about like pinpointing where that is coming from. At least malalaman mo kung saan ang galing. Kasi diba,
I have another one. Like, when I was having this really massive panic attack from the rain, because I have like rain PTSD. And then, like, in the middle of my panic attack, guys, no joke, like, I was palpitating and, like, panic attack.
I put earphones on you, that's why.
Wala pa.
Oh,
Wala ka. I was alone. Wala ka
Yeah.
dito. So I was freaking out. I didn't know who to call. I was calling my siblings. I couldn't breathe. And then my kids suddenly go inside my room. Like, without a care in the world. Wala silang alam. They were looking for me and they were like, Mommy, 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 Mommy. And then instantly, snap. Like, I snapped out of it. Because, I have to be strong for them. Like, I can't let them see me like this. So parang I feel like my point is just when you're so in your head all the time and you're stuck in a situation of ang hirap to get out of, to pull yourself out, like to go outdoors or to have somebody like really pull you out and snap out of it. That helped me.
I think it's about when it comes to this, I used to be like that. I used to be very much like that. But I don't anymore. Like, for the longest time, I don't anymore because I realize it's how I talk to myself. So, like, I used to be, when I was like 10 years ago when I was starting Light Block, pag nagkamali kami, or like, for example, okay, the formula didn't work, etc. And then I would have this, okay, it's like a endless loop in your head that you don't stop. And it's like torturing yourself. It's like, okay, pag nagkamali kami, wala na kaming trabaho, I'm gonna lose everything, I'm gonna be a failure, my parents won't respect me, and it's like, all these internal narratives that you talk to yourself about, and ang lalim mo nang naaabutan, and it's all future projections of what might happen and what might not. And it's like, alam mo yung mabaho na yung kamay mo, pero palagi mong inaamoy.
The hell?
Parang ganyan. Or, alam mo, oy, tingnan mo, mabaho yung kamay ko. Pag-amoy nga, tingnan mo kung mabaho.
What the hell,
it's like,
dude? Never do that to me.
You already know it's mabaho, but palagi mong inaamoy pa rin.
I think a
So
better
it's like,
example would be like, when something hurts when you poke it, but you keep poking it anyway. I don't know what's going on with your brain. I'm not there.
Yeah. So I guess it's all about how people cope, but for me, it's just cutting that mental thread. Whenever I get to that circle, and I don't know, maybe I'm just self-aware when it comes to that. Like, whenever I get into that cycle and I start feeling physical kasi talaga ang anxiety, nafe-feel mo. And I feel that and I say, stop thinking about that.
Yeah.
You're dwelling on that problem. And this reminds me of how si Rachel of Love Bonito has that kind of thing also. She was saying something about, and it's similar to how I would do it. Sabi niya, if I'm depressed about something or I'm sad about something or something is bothering me, I just give it time. I time the 5 minutes and I'm gonna dwell on that. I'll give myself that time to dwell on
Kung
it.
gusto ko umiyak, iiyak ako. Basta 5 minutes
So,
lang.
kung ano pa yan, kung something like, for example, a bruise, like, okay, I'll touch it for 5 minutes. But after that, wala na.
Yeah.
Like, okay ka na. Tapusin mo na.
Like, move on.
Oo.
Move on.
Yeah. So, in that sense, it's like, she is still cutting that mental thread. Like, okay, snap out of it. So I guess all of us deal with it differently.
Yeah.
And I hope like these things that and how we deal with it can help someone out there.
Yeah. I feel like knowing that, we are all overstimulated
Yes.
and we are all going through it and we are all just craving downtime, which your father always reminds us, right? We're all going through it. And just knowing that, okay, sometimes when you're feeling this way, it might be good to take a break. I think that's enough.
Yeah.